if you do have other questions, please make sure you ask. But page 15 in your notes says, let's go review our exponent properties. And that's where I would suggest, if you need some extra help, those Quizlets, okay, to take a look at. Exponent, remember, is of a base indicates the number of times that it's being multiplied. X to the n is telling us that there's n factors of x. Numbers expressed using exponents are called powers. So when you have a base and an exponent, we call that a power. So on the quiz, I ask you to leave it as a power. And it says older calculators and computers often can use this symbol for our exponents, but you might also see y to the x on your calculator or on your computer screen for an exponent. And here is the beware part that we just want you to make sure you're aware of. So to apply exponents to the base when it's negative, you got to make sure negative 4 to the second in a parenthesis is not the same as negative 4 without a parenthesis to the second. Okay? This second one means negative 1 times 4 to the second. This first one means negative 4 times negative 4. That gives us positive 16. Here, when you think of it as negative 1 times 4 to the second, that gives you a negative 16. And you have to be smarter than your calculator to just make sure that you don't make that mistake. Okay? So when you look at those, this one is telling you to take negative 4 squared. That means negative 4 times negative 4. This one is the negative of 4 squared. So you're actually squaring first, order of operations, and then putting the negative out front. So this one was negative 4. This one gives us the negative 16. This one gives us positive 16 because you're squaring the negative. So just making sure you're understanding that vocabulary. The next page down has all of these rules, and we are simply going to fill yours in. They're all the ones that you've had in lesson F1, 2, 3, and 4. So as you are taking a look at this, as you are writing yours down, I'm going to go first in the symbols, and then I'll do, like, what does it mean in words? So if we are looking at that first one, x to the 0, hopefully all of you will not get this wrong on the quiz. I always have at least one, it seems. Anything, any number to the 0 power is always equal to 1. It doesn't matter what that is, right? So that's our first one that we are looking at. The next one with negative exponents, and again, where would you find this? These notes, Educal. They're right there. They're in the ones with the answer for page 446 that you need to look at. Negative exponents. Some of you told me on the quiz last week that if you have a negative exponent, it always moves it to the denominator. No, it doesn't. It depends where it starts. If it starts in the numerator, yes, it moves it to the denominator. But if it starts in the denominator, it moves to the numerator. It means reciprocal. Negative exponent means to take the reciprocal when you are looking at that. That product rule we looked at last week, that was one of our first ones that we looked at. When you have x to the m times x to the n, when the base is the same, we are going to add those exponents. So you should be writing this on the bottom of page 15 is where this is in your notes. Looks just like this. It has the whole table. 15. Or 14, my fault. 14. Page 14, my fault. 14. Quotient rule. The quotient rule is when we divide and we have the same base, we are then subtracting. Now, you might have seen in that problem that I did in problem 73, I did the subtracting in the denominator instead of the numerator. My hint is wherever you have the larger power, the larger exponent, keep it there. So if it's in the numerator, do m minus n. If it's larger in the denominator, do n minus m. Keep it in the denominator. Key thing, you are always subtracting. If we have a power to a power, so this is the one we looked at towards the end of last week, we have a power to a power, we're going to multiply those. So making sure that you know the difference of when you're going to add to when you're going to multiply to when you're going to subtract. And what I'm going to look for on the quiz is that you kind of show me your steps as how you're doing it. Most of the problems on the quiz are 3 points. And so I'm looking for you to show me how you got your answer. Some of them are easy 3 points. It should probably only be 1 point, but we put them all as 3. What about product of a power and quotient of a power? Those last 3 are all kind of the same. It's just saying that whatever, your stuff's right back here. Whatever is inside your parenthesis, you are going to be taking. You look at EduCal and you click on it, and you see this notes, and you see this, and so now you can go back and write it down. And we're going to show you the quiz and then the answers from that page 446. So, you didn't get all this. You can simply click on EduCal and click on that page 446. So, our quiz is not Monday, but Tuesday, tomorrow, 16 questions, 48 points. I can simplify expressions with rational exponents. It covers F1 to F4. Some of the key things, no negative exponents. Some of you will leave that in your answer, either in the numerator or denominator. You have a negative exponent, it's wrong. There should be no parentheses. Simplified means you got rid of the parentheses, right? There should be no repeats of variables. Someone said, what do I mean no repeats of variable? If I have x to the 4th or 3x to the 4th times 4x times y to the 3rd. You tell me this is 12x to the 4th x, y to the 3rd, I got a repeat of x's. I don't want to see x to the 4th times x. That's x to the 5th. That's not simplified. So simplest form is when I actually would get 12x to the 5th, y to the 3rd, right? So no variables repeat anywhere. Can't be in the numerator and denominator where you have 2 x's or y's or whatever it is, whatever letter or variable that you are looking at, okay? So those are the key things for making sure you are ready for your quiz. 16 questions, 48 points. Didn't see your final. I will get those finals back to those of you that were here on Friday so you can kind of see. But do those 2 questions right now. Okay, I do the z to the 6th, and he put 7 to the 2nd, y to the 2nd, z to the 6th. Can you do that right away? Sure. So if we are looking at this, I had z to the 6th, start off. 1 squared is still just 1. 7 squared, which I have is 49. Y to the 2nd, z to the 6th. And I'm multiplying that. So I got top times top. So the z to the 6th over z to the 6th, someone goes, oh, that's equal to z to the 0. And what if you leave z to the 0 on the quiz? I'm going to mark it wrong, right? Because z to the 0 isn't simplified. Could you have said, I got z to the 6th over z to the 6th, that's the same as 1? Yes. Could you have said z to the 0 in the original problem times 1 over 49 y to the 2nd? Yes, but then your final answer would be 1 over 49 y squared. Yes?
At the beginning of the problem, when you made it first place of the question, how come you don't change the exponent to negative?
This one became positive, but here I took negative 2 times negative 3.
But like,
could I have rewritten this as 1 over z to the negative 2 raised to the 3rd?
I'm saying in the other part of the problem.
Yeah. We moved it down here.
So it
So
doesn't have
they were all positive. They stay positive. This just changes from negative 2 to positive 2.
Okay.
And it was a 7 to the 1st and a y to the 1st. And so then when we multiply them, that's how, as you heard, part of the same, we said 7 to the 2nd, y to the 2nd, z to the, okay. So there's many ways of doing it, right?